Kimberly Underwood, Director of Digital News Media for AFCEA International's Signal Media. Welcome to our Emerging Leaders podcast. If you don't know, Signal Media is the official media arm of AFCEA International, and today I get to sit down with one of AFCEA International's best, Allison Hansard. We're going to talk all about emerging leaders and a new exciting program at AFCEA that you'll tell us all about. Thanks, Allison, for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. As she mentioned, my name is Allison Hansard. I run the Emerging Leaders Program as well as IDEA and Women in AFCEA. My title is the Manager of Inclusion and Diversity here. And yeah, I'm so happy to get to chat with you today.
Yeah, thank you. So you've been immersed for a while in all things about emerging leaders as part of your previous role, and we'll go into your new role, which is very exciting. But tell us about, the history and the creation of AFCEA's emerging leaders. Who are they and why is it important, I guess?
Sure. So when AFCEA started in 1946, we've always included young professionals, especially at that time we had a larger military force, so we had a lot of young folks who were joining our organization. The program had initially been referred to as Young AFCEANs, but this name felt to some people to be a little bit belittling to the great work that these young professionals are doing. So at the end of 2020 and beginning of 2021, there was an effort to change the name of the program to Emerging Leaders. They felt that this rebranding really represented the level of accomplishments that these young professionals were representing in the field. So hopefully everybody's excited about this new name. I know a lot of chapters still have Young AFCEANs on their website, so please, if you do, make sure that you're making the change over to Emerging Leaders. That is the new name of the program. And then with this new rebranding, we also wanted to clearly define the different levels of young professionals in the program. So as many people know, AFCEA is a huge supporter of STEM education, and we really want to get started from beginning to end. So we have kids, students, and then after college, they move into early career. And then finally, that kind of 30 to 40 age range when, you're a little bit more established in your career, we call them emerging leaders. But the program as a whole is referred to as emerging leaders.
Right, I love that. I love that we're broadening kind of this whole area of emerging leaders down to kids to really help foster kind of that STEM kind of development and, military technology awareness, across the ages.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we're focusing on those younger folks, especially allowing them these opportunities that, not everybody might get if they didn't get involved with AFCEA.
Right, sure. And kind of what's the differentiator about AFCEA and, the emerging leader community? What makes us different, I guess?
So I think with AFCEA, it's really important to note that you get into it what you put into it, so or you get out of it what you put into it. So the more you get involved, the more benefits you're going to see from membership. I think the most important thing is getting to come to all of our networking events and all of our volunteer opportunities. Even if you're volunteering within the Emerging Leader Program, you'll still be seen by some of the higher ups, the chapter presidents, the regional vice presidents, who are very well established in their careers. I've spoken to so many emerging leaders that tell me that they wouldn't be where they are in their careers or even in their point in time in their lives right now without AFCEA and without having those connections. So I think it's really important that you get involved so you can start making those connections and fostering those relationships.
Right, and how to give us the basics. How do people join AFCEA?
Yeah, so membership is super easy. There are some associations that make you go through an application process. We are not one of those, so you can just go to the AFCEA website and click the little join button on the side and just fill out your information and you'll be a member that day. Something to note is that when you join as a member online, it's going to automatically assign you to a chapter based off of your geographic location. If you live somewhere but you prefer to be involved in a different chapter, for example, somebody could live in North Carolina but do most of their business in DC, we'd be happy to make that change for you. You could just email our service center and they'll put you in whichever chapter you prefer. And then to get involved with the Emerging Leader Program, once you are a member, make sure that, and this is for current members as well, make sure that you're going into your profile and you're updating your date of birth in there. That's really the only way that we're going to know if you're within the emerging leader age range, and that's the only way that I can send you communications about upcoming emerging leader news and things like that. As far as getting involved in the program, if you are new and you need some assistance, I would say reach out to me directly. My email is just ahansard@afcea.org, and you can find that on the AFCEA website on the Emerging Leaders page. And I'd be happy to connect you with your local emerging leader. Each chapter should have a emerging leader representative, and I would be happy to make that connection for you. If you feel more gung-ho and want to do it yourself, we also have all of our chapters listed on our website. You can just go and find your chapter, go to their website, and they should have all of their emerging leader information listed there as well. So they should have the contact information for their emerging leader lead or vice president.
Right. I love it. Just jump in, click that join button, and find your community.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy to be the middleman, but you don't need me to be. So it's really whatever you're most comfortable with.
Yeah, I love that. And then what advice do you have for, what are the best ways for members to maximize their benefits, particularly as an emerging leader?
Sure. So our VP of membership, Tina Jordan, always likes to say that an AFCEA membership is like a gym membership. So you're going to really have to use it if you want to see results. And the way that you would start doing that is come to our events, start getting involved in your local chapter. We have so many different volunteer opportunities at so many different levels that allow you, again, to interact with people who are further along in their careers, where they can see you and your work ethic, but kind of in a more relaxed setting where, it's just a volunteer opportunity. You're not going to get fired. You can make risks. You can really make it your own, but also getting involved allows you to foster those relationships with people.
Right, sure. And I love that AFCEA has this, set aside within the bigger organization for people under 40. I know on the, Signal Media side, we do have a couple of opportunities that we work together on to spread the word for emerging leaders to really share their voice. And I really love that we have that. So we have obviously the podcast. So tune in and listen to that, and we trying to pull in speakers or guests from kind of all over different communities to kind of help people kind of, hear from their challenges or where they are in their career to kind of give lessons learned. And also happy to take people as a guest on the podcast. And then as far as Signal Magazine itself, the monthly print magazine has a dedicated column for emerging leaders. We call it Disruptive by Design, just like the podcast. And there, emerging leaders can share trends, thought leadership, challenges. It's kind of a fun space for emerging leaders.
Yeah, definitely. I think that another great portion of AFCEA is the fact that we are completely across the board in the field. So we have government, we have military, we have industry, we have academia. So, a lot of people working in industry, you're kind of in your industry bubble, where being involved with AFCEA allows you to kind of break out of that bubble and meet more military people, meet more government people. So I think it's really an awesome place to foster relationships and just build your network.
Right, and we want everybody to know for our specific big AFCEA conferences that we do always have an emerging leaders panel as part of the conference, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, our big events, so West, TechNet Cyber, TechNet Augusta, all of the international based events, and even some larger chapter events like Alamo ACE down at Alamo in Texas, they all have emerging leader panels, again, called Disruptive by Design. If you're interested in ever becoming a speaker for the podcast, the panels, or even writing an article, again, you can reach out to me and I'd be happy to connect you. We are always looking for fresh voices, fresh faces, so that would be really great. But yeah, it's an awesome place for people, especially those panels, to come together and give a talk in a space where, not only emerging leaders are attending these panels, everybody's attending. So it's a really great spot to kind of show how younger people are innovating and how they are really furthering the field.
Right, absolutely. And I love that, you'll have these panels of, several generals, 3-star, and CEOs and experts, from industry on certain panels. And to have that space for emerging leaders, in this same conference, I think is really key.
Yeah, I mean, I think so many emerging leaders, they're going to be those CEOs, those generals one day. So allowing them to have that voice kind of earlier on, especially with technology ever changing, I feel like the younger generation definitely has a bigger understanding of that. So it's a great place to kind of share what you're passionate about, as well as get your face out there, get your name out there.
Right, and also look out at conferences, if you're not on the panel as an emerging leader, there's also other usually fun emerging leaders events around a big conference.
Yeah, we usually hold larger socials. Definitely, I'd say the biggest ones are at West and TechNet Cyber, but at all of the international events, we try to hold some socials. If we're not holding socials specifically, we usually try to get a big group involved and do a group chat and just kind of see what other socials are happening and kind of go as a larger group so that everybody feels comfortable and safe. And walking around in these cities that you don't know about, it's great to be in a large group of peers.
Yeah, and every chapter does have an emerging leader coordinator usually, so definitely look out for them once you join your chapter. And then tell us about your new role, which is so exciting, and I love this way that AFCEA is going. It's so important, I think.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to be mentored by Susan Emmert, who used to be the Director of Diversity here at AFCEA International, and she was actually the creator of Women in AFCEA, so thank you, Susan, for all of your work. We miss you, but I hope you're having a nice retirement. So with her retirement and with myself running the Emerging Leaders program, which is one of our underserved communities in the field, it kind of felt like a natural progression for me to move into this Manager of Inclusion and Diversity role. So right now I am working with Women in AFCEA from the international level. Each chapter also has usually a Women in AFCEA representative. And then our new initiative, which is our diversity initiative IDEA, which is inclusion, diversity, equity, and accessibility. And that is probably what I'm most excited about. So with AFCEA being a membership organization, it's incredibly important to me that everybody know that AFCEA is a safe space for everyone. We do not tolerate any kind of bigotry or racism, and we want to make sure that everybody has a safe space here. So I think that this new initiative going forward, just making sure that we're including more diversity in our panels, in our Signal magazine, things like that, just showing that this is a space where you can come and feel safe is very, very important to me. So we are hoping to hold panels at each of the large events similar to Emerging Leaders and have receptions for that as well. So great things are on the horizon there, and Women in AFCEA is just going strong. I mean, that's a well-established program. As far as emerging leaders go with this new role, we will be hiring an emerging leader coordinator, but I still will be overseeing the program as a whole, so please still keep me as the main point of contact until I tell you otherwise.
Right, fabulous. You've heard it here first from Powerhouse Allison. Great things ahead, and thank you for all you do.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. This was great.